Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody. Let's go to Rumble. Make sure we're live on Rumble. All right. Go to, hold on just a second. All right. And we got to click on this guy. Make sure this is up and running. All right. There we go. All right. All right. All right. Looks like we're good to go. All right. Sweet. What up, everybody? All right. Hey, we got some right out of the gate with Joe B. Bad. All right. Yeah. Well, we're not run late, right? 8 o'clock. All right, cool. Anyway, so Joe B. Bad says, I consolidated a few 401ks, a new IRA, half at Schwab, half Fidelity, sitting 100% cash. I'm worried about some bad stuff coming. Thoughts? Safe to re-enter the investment? Man, I got no thoughts. I don't know this first thing about you, and if you're out of the market, I would not tell you to get back in because that would be a risk that I am not willing to take. Let's see. All right. My man Jeepa Del Monton. 7 years, 450. Okay. Yeah, right on, Kim. I'm not telling anyone to get in or get out of the market. Just as an FYI, folks, there's no winning. You can't win if you're an advisor in that regard. And the reason is because there's no upside at all. So if I were to tell whatever this guy's name was to get back in and the market fell, he could blame me, and I'm not taking that blame. Hell no. And if I were to tell him not to get back in and the market went up, he would blame me. So there's no upside for me to take that at all. And then frankly, why would I even want that? I got no at all desire to get in a freaking pissing match with people who say you should. Look, I don't know. All I know is the market. If you're worried about the market doing bad things, so somebody tell you get back in is just stupid. If you're worried about the market, if you think you're gonna miss out on some upside for someone to tell you to get back out, is stupid too. There's no incentive for me whatsoever. So if I'm one of you all and some guy is saying you should get back to the market, I would wonder who the hell that is talking to me. Because in fact, it's funny. I was talking to a guy on Saturday or Friday, I can't remember, and he was like, he knows this guy UBS. He's a big stock guy. He's like, man, you got too much in bonds. And I'm like, who? I couldn't believe I'm hearing this, man. I was like, he doesn't know the first thing about your situation. You got too much in bonds. He don't know the first thing. Because these stock jocks are trained that the market is forever going as perpetual motion machine that goes up. In fact, I want to dive into this because I've been wanting to do a video on it. And I'll do another video on a side alone tomorrow. But right here, I think this is a great my man Lance Roberts over at Real Investment Advice. Huge fan of these guys. They got a YouTube channel. I don't watch any of their videos. I just don't watch that many financial videos, guys. I just don't. But I guess you all can't see that yet. There we go. Right. Oh, there we go. I just because frankly they kind of bore me. But I like his writing. I like to read stuff, and I like to hear stuff for things that interest me. Other people's take on the markets, and it just bores me. Anyway, but this guy, I love these guys over here, Real Investment Advice. I probably should watch some of their videos. I just haven't yet. All right. Is cash a good hedge? Is a recent focus of a recent article discussing fast versus slow risk examined the financial impact on equities and cash over long-term periods of time. Equities being stocks. All right. So is cash a good hedge? The simplest analogy is to differentiate between fast risk and slow risk is heroin versus cigarettes. Heroin is a fast risk. Cigarettes are a slow risk. Heroin tends to kill people quickly, especially in the event of an overdose, while cigarettes tend to kill people slowly. A lot to be desired in that analogy, but let's just we'll move forward. Stocks have a lot of fast risks, but little slow risk. The S&P 500 could drop 20% tomorrow, but 30 years from now is likely to be much higher than it is today. Well, on the other hand, cash has lots of slow risk, but little fast risk. Next year, your dollar should be worth about the same as it is today, but 30 years from now, not so much. And he gives us this right here. Probability of investment being down greater than 5% relative to holding period. And you can see cash in 1 month, there is no probability of the investment being down greater than 5%. After 12 months, there's a 6% probability. I even hate to say probability. Whereas the stocks is, I can't even see what that number is. I don't know what that is. But anyway, it looks like 22% or something like that, or 11%. But there's 1 in 4 chance or 1 in 5 chance that your stocks could be down greater than 5% over a year's time. There's 1 in 5 chance that your stocks could be down greater than 5% over 5 years' time. There's 1 in, I guess, that's 8 chance that your stocks could be down greater than 5% in 10 years' time, and there's 0 chance that your stocks could be down greater than 8%, greater than 5% in 20 years' time. Whereas on the other hand, the cash, 36% of the time, your cash will be down greater than 5%. So 1 out of every 3 times. And notice it goes down as you age out. Isn't that interesting? Wonder why that would be. Let me close the door. All right. So I find that interesting that your cash return actually increases the longer you hold cash. Anyway, be it as it may, this is completely irrelevant, and we're going to share with you why. What my man Lance says here. Notably, Nick's point is that cash is not a financially risk-free asset. That's why cash isn't as risk-free, but more of a fast risk-free asset that you're not going to lose 20% in any given year. Cash has plenty of risk, but over the slow variety. And I just wonder, what are they using for cash? Is it a 30-day treasury bill? I don't know. Because if you look at the 30-day treasury bill, does it actually have a greater than 5% risk? Does it actually have a 31%, 36% probability of historical proportions of being worth more than 5% in 10 years? I don't know. I literally don't know. I doubt it. Every time slow risk doesn't make headlines. Every time a hedge fund blows up, you'll probably hear about it. But you never hear about the person who sat in cash for 20 years because they were too afraid to get invested. Both are equally devastating, but one seems less spectacular than the other. All right, so let's keep going because I think this is critical here. All right. When thinking about the question of if cash is a good hedge or not, remember that holding cash during a bull market can be devastating to financial outcomes. Unfortunately, holding stocks can even be just as destructive. Stocks have fast and slow risk. Let's revisit the graph above. When analyzing returns over long periods, how you interpret the data is crucially important. So according to the chart, the probability of an index being down 5% over 20 years is 0. Yeah, that's true. But this is where it gets interesting. It's 0. But as noted, the chart below shows the market from a different perspective. It is the S&P 500 compared to valuations at 10, 15, and 20 times trailing earnings. As is shown, the market tends to oscillate between the top of the valuation channel and the bottom over time. These oscillations sometimes represent the financial fast risks associated with investing in stocks. Sometimes these fast risks can take weeks, other times years to play out. However, investing in the stock market also has slow risk. Starting valuations matter to financial outcomes. In the short term of a period of 1 year or less, political, fundamental, and economic data have very little influence on the market. But in the long term, valuation matters. Both charts compare the 10-year and 20-year forward total returns versus the margin-adjusted CAPE ratio, cyclically adjusted PE ratio. And what's happening here, the higher the CAPE is at the start of the time period, i.e. the higher the cyclically adjusted PE, price earnings ratio, the lower the returns were in the future, i.e. a slow risk. Since many regularly discount the importance of trailing PE valuations, I will provide you the current price to sales ratio. All 3 charts suggest that forward returns over the next 10 to 12 years, 20 to 20 years will fall somewhere between -2 and 3%. Such is the slow risk of investing in the stock market when valuations get elevated at the beginning of the investment cycle. To visualize the importance of slow risk, this chart is freaking fundamentally important. To visualize the importance of slow risk, the chart below shows $100,000 adjusted for inflation invested in year 2000. All right, $100,000 adjusted with inflation starting in 2000 versus a 6% annual compound rate of return. 6% annual compound. The blue is a 6% annual compounded rate of return. The orange is what you started with, adjusted for inflation. That is the difference between the numbers right there. Due to the impact of two bear markets, the investor that started in 2000 is well short still of the real return promised. The investor that began in 2007 only recently achieved their goal. However, a bear market in the future will set them back markedly. I cannot stress this enough, my friends. Just because you're up after 20 years, it doesn't mean you don't have short-term risk. This is the freaking point that pisses me off. Everyone says, yes, there's no 20-year time that I've lost over 5%. But we just see the last 20 years, you're basically breaking even. And now the valuations are way up here, which means if you look historically at trailing price to earnings ratios, because the valuations are so high, the likelihood of a future performance like we've had in the last 10 years is quite low. Yes, you can make the argument in no 20-year time in history. Again, we only go back 80, 90 years, no big deal. You can make the argument that in over 20 years' time, we've never lost 5 years. Okay, guess what? I care about the next 3 to 5 years. If I get smoked when I first start out, it doesn't matter if I don't lose 5% over 20 years. I am out of, look at this. If this happens again, your freaking goose is cooked. Right here. The problem of time is crucially important, the sequence of return risk. If you're 45 and 20 in the year 2000, you didn't make your retirement goal because your goal was to have up here 6% compounded annual growth rate. You weren't anywhere near that. And that's without taking money out. With markets now back to some of the highest valuations on record, the risk of slow risk has been risen markedly. Is cash a good hedge? Both cash and equities have risk. However, cash has no fast risk, but does have slow risk. Stocks have both. This is an important statement. If cash has no fast risk, then cash acts as a natural hedge against inflation or against the immediate decline of the markets, 100%. And going back to what we've always said in the market, the goal of investing is not only the return on my principal, the return of my principal. Yes, cash will lose purchasing power over the holding period, but equities can lose a lot more when that fast risk comes. Oh, given the length of the current market advance, deteriorating internals, high valuations, and a weak economic backdrop, reviewing cash as an asset class may make some sense. Of course, since Wall Street does not make fees on investors holding cash, maybe there's another reason why they're so adamant that you remain invested all the time. Now, I know it's a long article, but I'm telling you, man, this idea that cash is trash or cash won't keep up with inflation or that the stocks for the long run. Look, I got Jeremy Siegel's. I got 2 or 3 of his things. I 100% agree. Stocks for the long run historically has made sense. That doesn't mean stocks for the future long run will make sense, especially if I'm getting ready to retire. This freaking whole argument is nuts to me. I'm sitting there thinking just because we've had 20 times, we've had since, how many years have we had 20 years? It just, oh my goodness. So if you had, let's go back to 1926 to 1945, 1946 to 1965, 1966 to 1985, 1986 to 1985, 2005. We've had, that's 8. We've had basically 8 time frames of 20 years. That's it. 8 time frames of 20 years. Now we're in year 16 of the 9th time frame. That's it. That's it. You only had 8 times of 20-year performance records. Oh, well, how about rolling returns? That's statistically irrelevant because, again, from 1926 to 1945, that's 20 years. From 1927 to 1946 is 19 of those 20 years the same numbers. Statistically, you can't use those as any kind of statistical gauge because there's 19 of the same years of those 20. So they're not different at all. It's statistically irrelevant. We have literally 8, and we're now in year 16 of the 9th 20-year time frame. And of those 8, I don't know. It just doesn't matter to me. But to say, oh my goodness, we don't have any history of being down 5% or more over 20 years. Well, you only have 8 statistical. You only have an N. That's your population size of 8. That's not statistically relevant. It's not. And then I said, not only is that not statistically relevant, we look at Japan. It's crazy. So these people say stay in the market for the long term. Like, dude, you might lose your money. You might be down. And if you're pulling money out, you might not be around. This whole point about the sequence of return risk, my friends. Sequence of return risk says, look, yeah, the market has averaged 11% since 30 years. Okay. Well, if I started in 1982, I'm freaking loving life. But if I started in whatever it was, 2000, I'm doomed. Doomed. Yeah, man. I'm telling you, man, don't get caught up in the stock. Well, I'll just share. I got my Chris Barfield Financial shirt on, by the way. Chris Barfield gave this to me. That rat think. That Chris Barfield honking his horn and putting on his lights while I was walking away. Scared me to death. Anyway. So here we go. Is stocks for the long run. Jeremy Siegel. It works until it doesn't. And then when it doesn't work, you're sitting there saying, damn, I wish I had cash. So again, I'm not telling this guy what to do. I have no desire to take on that gamble. I'm just saying, if you're about ready to retire and you don't have a little bit of cash, I don't know what, because you're thinking 20 years, I'll never lose money. I find that to be nuts. And if your advisor or anyone's recommending you need more stocks as you're getting ready to retire, I'd say, dude, you don't have my best interest at heart because you don't know my situation. All right, let's keep going here. Let's see. I guess some from Denise. Denise, was this recent? Was what recent? I didn't see Denise say anything. Okay, interesting. Hey, Hodges from Ohio. All right, here we go. All right, let's see. Oh, Kim was talking earlier about ICU bills. Gotcha. Okay. All right. I don't get what this. I'm not sure what's going on with this guy. So if y'all want to, I don't see any question here. So if you guys want to, looks like Kim's. All right, good. If you guys, yeah, there's Harry. Right on, sweet. All right. All right. So let's talk about this, my man Harry. So the 12% tax bracket for married folks is up to 83,000 for 2022. Harry's my man, all, but remember that's your taxable income. So we got to look at your adjusted gross income first. So if you're married filing jointly and you're over 65, I think you get an extra $28,000 above that 83,000. So just remember, AGI is before standard deductions. Taxable income is after standard deduction. So if you're trying to keep yourself above, within a certain tax bracket, make sure you're throwing your standard deduction in there as well, if that makes sense. So just as an FYI. All right. All right. I hope this channel is the active one for tonight. I see Denise and P. Josh must be getting tea. Oh, well, you guys were 4 minutes early, everybody. All right, cool. All right. So Dave Ramsey preaches buy a second home with cash only. Net worth 700,000. Oh, okay. Net worth 1.4. Man, don't write your whole names on here, people, when you're telling us all this stuff. There's some crazies out there like a little why do you say I'm late to the show tonight? I was right here at 8 o'clock. I was right on. Why is everyone saying I'm late? It was weird. I said 8. We're gonna start at 8. Did I not say we're gonna start at 8? I could have sworn we did. Weird. All right. I don't like being late. I actually take pride in being on time because I can't stand when people are late with me. Anyway. He's got 1.4 million and he's got 700,000. Okay, gotcha. Interest in buying home in the villages for 325. Thoughts? Yeah, I'd do it. I mean, I don't know what your expenses are, but hell yeah, I'd do that. Everyone loves the villages. All right, Eric. Harry's playing tennis and he's getting twice the much needed exercise now. Ooh, I was reading an article earlier today. Let me just share with you real quick. This is another from Zero Hedge. Right. Well, that's about the same. Don't move to Minnesota. My goodness. Look, you got to get out of these blue places. These blue places. St. Paul. If anyone, rent control is a scam. Rent control is a theft without eminent domain from owners to politically favored people. So anyway, St. Paul apparently has a rent control provision they just passed last week. that says you can only increase rents by 3%, regardless of inflation, regardless of age of property, regardless of anything. You can only increase your rents by 3%. So what's everybody doing? Of course, they're saying we're getting the hell out of St. Paul. So you can see a bunch of people. It says a developer in St. Paul or in Minnesota goes, we are reevaluating if any future business activity we want to do the city of St. Paul. The local NBC affiliate says that Ryan companies that they pulled applications for 3 buildings in a proposed 3,800 unit Highland Bridge project. So they're like, yeah, we're out. Screw you guys. Look, man, the blue states are dying. The blue is dying. Get out now. Look, I'm still in Fulton County, which is blue. I grant you, and it pains me to this day. But I can't leave until the kids are out of school. But man, I would be damned if I freaking let them have any more of my money once I get out of here. And we'll be going north. You got to get in a red county. I tell you, if you're going to relocate, the number one priority should be red county first and foremost, and ideally in a red state. But you can still be like, I talk to all kinds of people in Washington State, Oregon, Michigan, Wisconsin. And look, a lot of these red or blue states are nuts, but the counties that these guys reside, they're like, no one pays any attention. They're like, whatever, Governor Halfwit, you can kiss my big fat white behind, Whitmer, and you're stupid. But the problem is they can still destroy you when it comes to things like pipelines. It comes to things like we're going to ban natural gas and stuff like that. You just got to escape these blue places. It's an S show, and it's only going to get worse because what do commies do? When their communism doesn't work, they commie harder. And if you just think about Ayn Rand, she goes, yeah, basically what we do is we create criminals. We make everybody a criminal so we can control them more. The same thing, man. Commies, that's what they do. It didn't work. We're going to commie harder. And if you don't oblige, we're going to make you a criminal. You're like, dude, that's what they do. You got to get out of these places. It's nuts. Anyway, so I was reading this other thing too. This concerned me pretty good here as well. Never mind that the CDC admitted no record of natural immune people transmitting COVID-19. Not that you couldn't see that a mile away. Hold on a second. It was right. I forgot where it was. Where was it? I missed it. I don't know where. Oh, but the. Oh, here, yeah, I'll show you. Who we got in Rumble, by the way? My man Jeremy on Rumble. Let's see. No comments yet on Rumble. Okay, cool. Just want to make sure if anyone's on Rumble, so I'm not forgetting you. All right. Cool. All right, hold on just a second. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go to, all right. Hold on. All right. Let's see what we got here. National Economic Council Director Brian Deese claims inflation is working perfectly as designed. A collapsing U.S. economy demands more congressional spending. And this is from Joe Obama's National Economic Counselor Brian Deese, the 20-something central planner in charge of all the White House economic policy. He tells a curiously skeptical Jake Tapper that things are working swimmingly. Massive spending creates massive inflation. See, that's not true. That's what drives this. Massive spending does. I wish people would recognize that. It's just not true. That doesn't mean it can't. It just means you say this equals that. It's a fraud, man. You can't say that because there's no evidence that massive spending creates massive inflation. We don't have any. A little bit, but not enough. We're going to say, if this happens, that happens. That's what freaking drives me crazy. However, with that said, what we do know is when you're shutting down economic enterprises as a business as the worldwide, and on top of that, you're making the price of energy go through the roof, you're going to have inflation. This is just the problem with socialism because it creates scarcity. Scarcity creates inflation. It has nothing to do with the freaking stupid government printing press. It has to do with the economic policies of the socialists. Aye. All right. So anyway, big fan of Robert Kennedy Jr., which is nuts because I was always mocking him 20 to 15 years ago when he's always saying, "Oh my goodness, we never have snow in Massachusetts anymore." But he's kicking butts and taking names. Love RFK Jr. All right. So Bloomberg reports the number of booster shots needed to be defined as vaccinated is still unknown. So are you vaccinated? All right, right here. This is what kind of concerned me. Head of the Minneapolis Federal Reserve says inflation will get worse and prices will never come down. Look, I don't know, but there's significant short-term inflation, and when I say short-term, 1 to 3 years at the very least, for sure. And it just, I don't know. I mean, the demographic collapse, the balance sheet recession that Japan has, that we have now as well. The demographic collapse, all this stuff is, and then people just not wanting to spend as much. That's all deflationary, but the short term is unavoidable. It's the inflation is here, it's ugly, and let's deal with the short term first. Then we can worry about the demographic collapse later. But right now, it's inflation, all there is to it. There's no other way around that, man. And then the Medicare stuff, the whole thing's nuts, and it's only going to get worse for the time being until we get some reasonable people in there to freaking let go of, shutting down more pipelines in Michigan. Just this whole idea is insanity to me. It's just nuts, man. So Neil Kashkari is head of the Minnesota Federal Reserve Board. In plain speak, Kashkari is saying when it comes to prices and inflation, we're screwed. In an interview with Margaret Brennan, he admits inflation is still going up and it will get worse. Keep in mind, the lingo inflation conversation is discussing percentages of change. He claims that the percentages of change will start to slow in a few years, but prices will never return to the former level. Well, we don't know that, but remember, it's a percent. So we have a decelerating increase in the prices. That's still an increasing of the prices. The percentage of inflationary change this year over last will continue going up as prices continue to skyrocket almost every sector. Conservative Treehouse points out this issue because as the Fed continues, here we go. As the Fed continues to print money, the value of the future money drops. It's not true. It's not true. The Fed's been printing money. The government's been spending money they don't have for freaking decades. It's only now that we see inflation. I don't understand why people who are normally right on this stuff can't get this. It's the freaking policies. Current real inflation inside the total economy, the cumulative snowball that's coming down the mountain is over 20% and still growing. The situation puts the forecast prices of 2022 goods at an alarming level. The Fed has no tools to slow the rate of inflation as interest rates are disconnected. Because interest rates have been low for so long. That was supposed to be inflationary. It did not work. As interest rates were low, that's inflationary. As government spending, that's inflationary. As unemployment was low, that's inflationary. None of that mattered. We did not have the inflation. Now all of a sudden out of nowhere, interest rates are low. Government spending through the roof, that's inflationary. Why can't people get this? All right, but even Kashkari is telling Congress to stop spending money. I will go to my grave as the only one who's saying this has nothing to do with congressional spending. By the way, Sniffy Joe's polling is bad. Right now, there's a generic poll. It's 51-41 for the Republicans for registered voters, which is nuts. It's I've never seen the Republicans that high right now with registered. It's not even likely voters. When you look at the adult population, the generic ballot is still basically 1% over for Republicans, which I've literally never seen that. It's insane. When you look at registered voters, it's 10 points for Republicans in the generic congressional ballot. When you look at, I haven't seen anything on likely voters. If it's likely voters, it's going to even be worse. I've never seen anything like that. That's insanity to me. And wait till people start getting their Medicare premium going up by, 14.9%? That's freaking nuts, man. Oh, what else could cause inflation? Oh, how about this? How about we mandate that Maxine Waters on a bunch of people who just last year were called heroes, and now we're going to fire their butts because they don't take the Maxine Waters, and as such, now we don't have any supply of service. Oh, what happens when supply is limited and not to go down? Oh, what happens when the demand goes up and supply falls? Anyone want to take a guess what happens to prices? Has nothing to do with government spending. You have 30% less people in the workforce, and you have 30% more people demanding services because all those people weren't allowed to go to the hospital a year ago. Just freaking look, I love conservative treehouse. I love Sundance over there. Huge fan of him. I love all these guys on the right who say about inflation. They're wrong on this, though. If you're going to have less freaking supply and more demand, it's inflationary. If you're going to have even a demand that drops, but a supply that drops more, that's inflationary. This isn't flipping rocket science. My guys on my side have got to get this right. So why are hospital bills going through the roof? I mean, oh, by the way, my wife just told me, did you know Yale University has more administrators than they do students? Yeah, there you go, Hillary Clinton, you freaking piece of crap. That's because Hillary Clinton was the one who engineered the government takeover of student loans. And so now student loans are all backed by the government. All these colleges like, well, we're going to get our money by hook or by crook. You know, we'll do all the way you tell us what to do, government. We'll do it. And we're going to hire a bunch of diversity counselors and crap. Freaking nuts. Yale University has more administrators than they do students. That is non-sustainable. They have more people receiving paycheck that are actually paying. It's insane. So more people taking, less people contributing. What does that tell you? That tells you what's going to happen to the price. The price is inherently going to be inflated because they can't keep it up. This is nuts. Oh, boy. This is insanity. And my man says, well, what should I do with the markets? I don't know. But if you don't have some cash on the side, you're freaking crazy, man. And when I say cash, I include Ginnie Mae in that, short-term bonds in that. Yeah. I'm fired up tonight, man. Yeah, right on, Harry. There he goes. Harry says, still got 1 minute to showtime. I salute you, kind sir. All right. Yeah, people nuts. Yeah, so here we go. Denise, 165,000 at the ICU. All right, so who's paying for that? Oh, yeah, we are. And look, I'm just telling you, this is the way the nature of the beast. We're the taxpayer. Because we're basically privatizing the profits for the hospitals and the administrators at the hospitals, even though they're not for profit. Remember, I showed you the Turtle Boy article from I think it was on Wednesday, where the hospital, the CEO of the hospital chain up in Massachusetts was getting paid like $3 million for a not-for-profit hospital as he's firing the heroes of just last year. It's crazy. All right, right on. Thank you, Jeppa. I'm not late if it's Central. I'm not late if it's Eastern time zone. I said 8 o'clock Eastern time zone. You guys got to change your watches, man. Last year, remember, we fell behind last week. I own physical silver. I think everybody should, 100%. I think you should buy silver. Absolutely. How much? I don't know. But what is it, $25 an ounce right now? So I think you should get silver, 100%. Hey, there's Chris from Bangor. Don't tell us about your pension, Chris. Shh, don't tell us about it. Hey, there's my man in South Dakota. Right on. Where are you at in South Dakota, brother man? Hey, it was Claudia from New York City. Ugh, New York City clown show. And my man Luis. I haven't seen from Luis in a while here. All right, Luis says, I have a question. Can you tell me if 401k traditional with an index funds from Fidelity, is that a good fund to invest in? All right, so I can't say it's good or bad. Do I like index funds that are a stock market? Yes, I do. And what I say, I can't say it's good or bad because it's neither. It just is. And you can't attribute things that are good or bad to an inanimate object. Is that something I own? 100%. I own the Vanguard version of the total stock market, Luis. So yes, it's a fund that I actually own. Is a Fidelity one similar to the Vanguard one? Absolutely. And stock market investing, I think the Vanguard or the total stock index 100% makes sense. Now, how much should you put in there? Just remember, I don't know, but just remember from 2007 October to 9th of March 2009, I'm just telling you, the total stock market index was down 57%. So just be advised, my friends. Will that ever happen again? I have no clue. But it happened. It wasn't that long ago. So you had $100,000 on 1 March of 1 October 2007. You had $43,000 left without pulling any money out. Just was that 14, 15, about 16 months later. Just keep that in mind. That's on top of a 2000, 2001, and 2002, where the S&P 500 fell by 9, 12, and 22% consecutively as well. So, but stocks for the long run, Josh, yeah. When was the last time someone changed my mind? When was the last time someone changed? Oh yeah, my mind gets changed all the time, all the time. I, that's why I like to think about stuff because I love hearing what other people's perspectives are. Is gravity proven? No, it's not proven. So what causes gravity? Well, now they're trying to change it. That's the time a difference in time differential is time travels faster the higher altitude you get. That seems kind of weird. So you're literally bending an inanimate object called time. Odd to me, but if you would ask me a few years ago, I would thought gravity is absolutely proof. What else has changed my mind? Well, right now, I see inflation. I mean, you can't deny inflation. I still fall into the deflationary camp for the long term, 100%, 100%. But the facts are, is this is the worst case scenario, in my opinion, that could be coming down the pike shortly. We're gonna have a Japan-like market potentially, and an inflation like of the 1970s. I don't know. This is bad because Japan, the markets in Japan, while they got smoked, inflation was low, so the bonds did pretty well. If we go to a Japan-like decline in the stock market, and then we have an inflation-like increase like we had in the 1970s here, that's literally the worst of both scenarios. I did a video on that though, and I was actually relatively pleased with how that shook out. It wasn't nearly as bad as what I thought, so I was pretty comforted by that. It wasn't great, but it wasn't nearly as bad as what I thought. And that was again another reason to have liquidity, be it in bonds, even if we go into a high inflation environment, because the bonds, the slow risk versus fast risk, like that guy was saying, it absolutely makes sense. But the bonds will suffer less on any given time frame. And then what happened was in 1970s that turned into 1980s, the bonds actually did great because the interest rates were so high by then. You're getting a good fat yield, and then the price of bonds started going up as the interest rates dropped. So the bond market did great in the 80s, 90s to the 2010s, and now we'll never do that well again. The day of the bond market rescuing you is over. But I used the inflation of the 70s in the United States with the stock market of Japan from 1990 to 2012 with I think I had like a 1% or what did I use for I think I used the Nikkei or the 10-year bonds in the Nikkei in the Japan. I think I used the 10-year bonds. But no, I used the bonds from 2000 to 2020 in the United States. That's what I did. So low interest rates, high inflation, stock market getting smoked, and you did okay. It did okay. I was very very comforted by that. And let me see if I can't find that video because that was. Wait, hold on just a second. That was a great. And I don't want to say it's a great video because that's gonna be sound like, but I'm not gonna be able to find that video. But anyway, I think this is the worst. Hold on a second. Let me bear with me just a second. This is the worst market I can think of. Think of what I say. Hold on, my friends. Hold on, my friends. Hold on, my friends. Anyone on Rumble? My man Jeremy. No comments here. No one got a comment on Rumble. All right. Oh, there he is. Joel up from the jungle. Biden's been in office for 10 months, but it feels like 10 years. Yeah. Sniffy Joe. Because he has been in office for basically 12 years with Obama. All right, so bear with me just a second. Oh boy. Check this out. Someone's stealing my stuff. Look at this. Someone's stealing my stuff. Let me show you something here. I don't know who this guy is. I frankly don't care, but if he's preaching the good word, who's this? A guy named Holy Schmidt. Mythbuster, do you really need 1 million to retire? Interesting. Who started that? So hey, if people are stealing my stuff and it's helping people, that's good. I'll take that as a what they say, what's that thing they say that flattery is something is the best form of flattery. What do they call that? I forgot. Anyway, hold on just a second. So whoever Holy Schmidt is, That's good. If he's carrying the flag that you don't need $1 million to retire, that's fantastic. I'm happy to hear other people catching on. That's good. I hope that's what he's saying. I just don't know, frankly. But all right, let's see. This is the oops. This is the worst. Hold on a second. Right here. All right, cool. Here we go. So I'll put the link in the show note for this video. This is the worst retirement scenario I could model, is what I said. This is the worst retirement scenario I could model because let me put this in the comments here too. Link. Right there. Link. All right, sweet. And I had the Japan rates of return on stocks plus the plus the interest rates of the United States from 2000 to 2020, plus the inflation from 1970 to basically 1982. Think of like that. All right. Dude, I change my mind all the time, dudes, all the time. Let's put it this way. I used to think the FBI was a golden, and they're always looking out for America. Now I realize they're just as corrupt as every other government agency out there. And I should have known that about the FBI with Ruby Ridge, with Waco. There's rumors about the FBI being involved in Oklahoma City, and I always kind of said, nah, I don't know, man. That seems a little bit far-fetched. I bet there's something there that will never be. They'll never uncover that for sure. And let's just say, I don't trust any of them, and you shouldn't either, frankly. Why would you? Well, I mean, you got to trust people who've shown that they should be trusted. The FBI has not shown that. That's just a fact. And right now, they're the Stasi for the Biden administration. I mean, going after James O'Keefe's private residence because of Freaking Biden diary. It's freaking nuts, man. This is East Germany. I was reading an article the other day, too. Remember, East Germany, they only had like 1% of the population was actually narcs. That's it. That's all it took was 1% of the population because you didn't know who those 1% were. So always remember that, man. This is what commies do. This is what the freaking Nazis do. They always do. Totalitarians. They always turn people against each other. So just keep that in the back of your mind. And how is this with the Maxine Waters? There would be more and more narcs saying, oh, Josh didn't have the Maxine Waters. Next thing you know, you have a person knocking on your door. And we're not bad like Australia. Some of our states are. Did you have the Maxine Waters? Hell no. Can you come with us, sir? We got a few questions to ask. Sent to the gulag in Siberia. All right. All right. Let's see. We got Ron. Own business, paying wife also. Should I stop paying her and add her money to mine to increase Social Security? Ooh, that's a great question. I thought paying wife like you're divorced as alimony. That's a tough one, man. So the good people at the Center for Retirement Research at Boston College, and a lot of that stuff I find just trite and fear-mongering porn that they do, which bothers me because, well, there's my man said, do I change my opinion? I can't tell you how much I've come around on this stuff, how much just fear-mongering there is. They did a good study that said basically working women actually reduce Social Security amounts for the household. And off the top of my head, I can't remember exactly why, but essentially my wife works and she will, what was it? She works and she's going to get a benefit. I can't remember what it was, but if a working woman makes, $35,000 a year, it would have been better for her not to have worked to get her spousal benefit and then survivor benefit. I can't remember what it was. There's something more to that, what I'm saying here, because your benefit could have been higher or something like that, Ron. So basically, if you're making 80 and your wife is making 40, it's like better if you make 120 and she makes nothing, if that makes sense. That was, I think, almost exactly what it was. And so if you're making 80, she's making 40, you should make 120 and she should make nothing. That's what I think it was. Yeah. So the answer to that question is probably, but I don't know your specifics for sure. But don't skimp, my friends, on the on your Social Security taxes if you're self-employed. I cannot tell you how many people have done that. And I just, they have some fancy schmancy accountant who's, I'm going to show you how to save taxes. And they're like, whoa, man, you're giving me a dividend instead of a W-2 or 1099 where I have to pay FICA tax on. You are the man, accountant. Then you fast forward to when it comes time to taking Social Security. they're getting $1,300 a month. And you're like, what'd you do with the savings from when you paid yourself a dividend as opposed to the earned income? Yeah, I bought it on cars or wine or something like that. You're like, yeah, well, sucks to be you now, man, because now your Social Security is weak because you did not pay into it. Don't be one of those people thinking Social Security is the worst thing ever. It's just not. It's not. Is it the best thing ever? No, but it's exactly what it should be, which is a middle of the road for most people. It really is. It's a good plan. I'm just telling you, it is, and that's why we need to raise payroll tax by 50 basis points on each side to make it a little bit better. 100%. 100%. Oh, by the way, get rid of all charitable deductions, just as FYI. So get rid of them all. All charitable deductions, get rid of them. Who benefits from charitable deductions? The middle class or the wealthy? It's not the middle class, because the vast majority of the middle class do not write offs. They don't itemize. They take standard deductions. The only people that benefit from charitable deductions are the wealthy. And guess who ultimately benefits from the charitable deductions? It's these big nonprofits who are run by left-wing non-government non-government organizations, and just big lefty liberal things. Enough of this crap, man. Let's make the left pay their fair share. That's what the right needs to start saying. Make the left pay their fair share. I tell you, man, because our base on the right isn't the rich people. It's just not. And when I'm talking rich, I'm talking, people making more than $1 million a year. People net worth of more than 50 million, more than 20 to 50 million bucks. Those aren't our people. There's some in there, I grant you. Too bad. Our base, this is how you win elections, is you get your own base riled up. You don't try to reach out to the mushy middle, because if how you get the mushy middle is that you look like you're the strong guy. Because the reason the mushy middle is because they don't know which side to go, because they're putting their hand and saying, okay, so everyone likes BLM. I'm going to support BLM. Oh, everyone likes, what's her name, Kamala. I'm going to support Kamala. Then the next year, oh, no one likes BLM. I don't like BLM. You can't, these people got no freaking soul, man. You got to get your own base riled up. Your own people riled up. And the way you do it is say, let's make the left pay their fair share. That's what you do. Now, if you're really going to be honest with it, you have to look at the states, and the left states do pay more in income tax than the right states do. That's just a fact. Make them pay more. That's what we want. Revenge, baby. Make them pay more. Did you see the thing about Nancy Pelosi's tax cut for the wealthy? Yep, because they're getting rid of that SALT thing. Huge tax cut for the wealthy, like just huge. It's nuts. All right. So we got my man Guppers. He makes 80Q. He's single. He puts 40K in a 457 and 403B. He has 400 gain outside retirement accounts. Do I have to pay capital gain tax? Yeah, when he sells, brother. Absolutely. Oh, I see what he's saying. Okay, I see. So he's basically saying, all right, so my man Guppy, bubble Guppers. All right, so he's basically putting his taxable income is $40,000, which that's going to be his gross income is $40,000. You throw out about 13% standard deduction. His taxable income is about $27,000. So he'll be well in the 12% tax bracket. So if he sells $400,000 of gains, will he pay capital gain tax? Yes. He won't pay capital gain tax up until he loses the 12% tax bracket. He will pay nothing. So basically what you'd want to do, brother, is you want to sell enough to stay in the 12% bracket, but no more than that if you don't want to pay capital gain. Look, man, at the end of the day, all right, you're paying a 15%. Was it capital gain? 15%, right? Yeah. 15% capital gain for all that money you've made, that's small potatoes. So just keep that in mind. You cannot sell $400,000 of long-term capital gain and still pay no capital gain tax. There are some financial advisors, even on YouTube, who say you can, and that's just straight up dumb. Don't listen to that. Hey, Tina says she knows we're the cool kids. Right on, Tina. Sweet. I don't know anything about dividend aristocrats or dividend kings, but I do have the Vanguard dividend growth fund. So I like dividends, Luis, a big fan. And along those lines with American funds follow a dividend model too, which is why I like American funds. So I don't know about dividend aristocrats. I don't even know what that means, or dividend kings. I don't know. But I like the Vanguard dividend growing fund, and then American funds are heavy into dividends. Absolutely. All right. All right. My man said he just signed up with it. I signed up with Charles Schwab Charitable Giving Program. I like not touching to avoid the taxes. I'm not sure what you're saying. I like not touching to avoid the taxes. Oh, so he's doing a qualified charitable distribution, QCB. I assume either that's a donor advised fund or QCD. I like the QCDs. I don't know if that's explicitly to do with Schwab. You don't have to have a Schwab account to do the QCD. So I'm not all that familiar with the Schwab charitable giving program. Everyone has a charitable giving program with QCDs, which again, what that means is, my friends, is once you're 72 at RMD stage, you can give money directly to your 501c3 or 501c31, whatever it's called, a charitable entity. Well, I would say Salvation Army, but Salvation Army is mandating the Maxine Waters, so they can kiss my big fat behind. If you're mandating the Maxine Waters, you should not get any charitable contribution. Sorry, I don't care what kind of work you're doing. All that work is being wiped away by the evil you're imparting on your clients, your employees. So you can kiss my big fat behind. I would simply say, and as I did, I contacted Options for Women, which is a pregnancy group up in New Jersey, and another one in South Texas Pregnancy Center. South Texas Pregnancy Center, and I gave them pretty decent money, into the five figures, 4 figures each. And I said, "Are you mandating the Maxine Waters?" And they both said, "No, we don't have any issues if people want to do it, but we're not mandating." I said, "You're going to get my money." And I've been giving them money to the pregnancy centers for quite some time, but the minute I find they're mandating the Maxine Waters, I'm pulling my donations. So, anyways, so what happens when you're 72 and you got 50,000 of required distributions? What used to happen is that you have to take that as a 1099. You declare that as income, and then if you were to give that $50,000, in theory, you could write the entirety off because it's a charitable deduction. So you got an income matched with a charitable deduction, but never worked like that because, again, the vast majority of people don't itemize. So if you had a $50,000 in your giving, you probably would itemize at that stage, but the vast majority of people don't give that kind of scratch. So they're not itemizing, so they have to declare income on their 10,000 RMD, and even if they give that away, they still don't get a tax deduction because they're not taking the itemization. The standard deduction is higher than the itemization of the taxes. So what happens is with a QCD, which Obama and I think Boehner, they solidified for forever, if memory serves, is that they say, no, you don't even have to take, you don't have to have a 1099 that goes to you that you have to declare on your 1040. You just transfer that directly to the charitable entity. So it bypasses you outright. It's freaking awesome, man. It's awesome. It says, I'm not going to take that. Here you go. I would still get rid of them all. As I say, get rid of all charitable deductions. But, I'm not king of the world. I'm certainly not God. So as we see here today, the QCDs are great. Don't take the distribution. Give it right to your charitable entity for sure. All right. Have you done a video on both spouses retiring with similar earning history? Can both collect full Social Security benefits? Yes. How to stagger the timing if that's an option based on retirement savings? Yeah, how to stagger the timing? I don't know. Some people, I'm not sure what the staggering would be. So, yeah, you can certainly stagger. Someone can take it at 70. Someone can take it at early. They'll get reduced. Someone can take it at 70 and get the delayed earnings credits. So you can both take it at full retirement age. You can do all kinds of different things in that regard. They're not going to be spousal benefits here, though. That's for sure. Because the spousal benefits, if you're both making a similar Social Security benefit, there's no spousal benefit. So the only thing that you want to be doing, Tom, is you're saying, look, this is what I'm doing. For me, I'm a man. I'm 4 years older than my beautiful, who is freaking insanely gorgeous, by the way. I could not believe it. I took a picture of her today. I said, damn, girl, you're freaking hot tamales. And I texted to my brother and my sister and their two spouses. And someone said, I want to look as young as Charlotte. And I said, yeah, me too. And then they said, I wish you'd share her secrets with me. It's being married to me, because I keep her on her toes. And then my wife said, oh my goodness, why is he taking pictures of me watching TV? At least I wasn't napping. And then I said, here's me. So I said, that's me right there. A fat Skeletor. So I took a picture of my wife, and then I took a picture of me. I said, yes, who I am, a fat Skeletor. Oh, Skeletor, what happened to you? You let yourself go. Oh man, my man did sell already. Oh boy. Oh boy. Let's see. All right. Ben Lane said he's retiring at 62. What do you pull out of first? IRA, stocks, and portfolio, or 401k? For me, I'm pulling out my IRA or 401k first, and then I'll hit my stocks later. That's what I. But Frank, I will not have any pre-tax stuff by the time I'm 62. So for me, it's going to be my brokerage account, my VTI or bust, baby. I'll have a Roth and a brokerage account, and that's it. Some cash. So I fully anticipate not paying ever paying taxes again. That's my goal. When I hit 60, other than income tax, in terms of earned income, I plan on never paying taxes again. Once I'm on Social Security, which I won't take. My sister just texted me. Once I take Social Security, which I don't plan on taking until I'm 70, I'll just live off Social Security. That's my goal. So Charlotte is 4 years younger than me, hell of a lot better looking, and she's a woman, so she's going to survive me. She'll, again, I'm worth a hell of a lot more dead than alive anyway. So, so what's going to happen is I'll take my Social Security at 70. That way, when I die, she'll get my her full survivor benefit, which, as we see here today, is probably about $4,100 a month, based on today's Social Security record. Because if I take it at my full retirement age, my PIA is about $3,100 a month. If I wait till I'm 70 instead of my full retirement age to take it, it'll go up by about $1,000 a month. So it'll be about $4,100 a month when I turn 70. In the interim, we'll probably have her taking hers at 62, which will be reduced, I grant you. It will. So we haven't quite come to this bridge yet, but if she takes hers at 62, which will be reduced, right, because she's taking it before 5 years before her full retirement age of 67. So she'll lose 32% or 35%. So if her benefits, for simplicity, $1,000, she'll get $700 a month at 62. I'll be 66. She'll be 62. I can't. There's no more of me getting her benefit, nothing like that. So she'll get $700 a month until I take my benefit at 70. Now her benefit will increase because I've taken she'll get half of my full retirement age benefit, my PIA. My PIA is about $3,100 a month. So she'll take her $700 a month will increase by what would have been half of my basically $1,500 a month, but she'll still be reduced because she took her own benefit early. So she'll probably get an increase, probably $300 or $400 a month. So for simplicity, we'll say Charlotte, when I'm 70, she'll get her spousal benefit, which most likely will be more than her own benefit. I can almost guarantee $1,000 a month because her spousal benefit is reduced because she took her own retirement benefit early. So those two things are going to coincide. They're both reduced. I'll get my own benefit of $4,000 a month or so. So we'll basically be getting $5,000 a month when I'm 70 years old. All right. So what am I going to do from 62 to 70 or 60 to 70? Well, I'll be living off hopefully my VTI, reverse mortgage, the proceeds of selling this thing. I mean, we'll see. You know what I'm saying? I still might be working. I mean, I like doing YouTube. If YouTube will have me, I'll continue to do this. I highly suspect they won't have me, but we shall see. So anyway, that's my plan initially. I'll go probably work part-time. I like playing in the dirt. I'll probably go try to get a part-time job at Pike's Nursery if they're still hiring, where you can help people with how to plant gardens and stuff like that. I love that stuff. But or maybe get a part-time job with the county extension, is digging ditches for people or helping them run soil tests and all that stuff. Who knows? All right. Question on the wash sale. If someone's guilty of the wash sale, you can't deduct the loss on your taxes. Was the cost basis lowered of the new security you bought? Oh man, I can't remember. Good question. I just don't know. Is it true a legislator from Texas proposed eliminating WEP? Yeah, 100%. Actually, the guy from Larson has done that with his Social Security 2100 plan. Devin Carroll interviewed Larson, 2 years ago, I think, about that, where he's talking about eliminating the WEP and I think the GPO too, the government pension offset. So, I'm in favor of that. Initially I was not, and then I said, it doesn't make sense that someone who gets a government pension, they weren't paying into Social Security, I grant you, and this is not everybody. It's certainly not federal employees, mostly teachers. They weren't paying into Social Security. and instead their savings from Social Security was going for the pension. But they are being penalized because, like, if you have a spouse who did not work, your spouse will still get half of your benefit, even though she paid nothing into the system. It's not fair to government employees who did not pay into Social Security just because they receive a government pension. It's kind of like you're saying, okay, well, they have a pension, we're going to penalize you relative to a surviving or a spouse who did not pay anything into it. I don't think that's fair, and the tax law certainly isn't fair. But I'm a I'm not gonna say a huge fan of getting rid of the WEP, but it's only fair to do, and the GPO certainly as well. Oh, here's some gravy. All right. With the concerns you recently raised about China, how would you structure the ideal portfolio for the nervous investor? All right. I don't touch crypto to save my life. You can. I don't. Having some gold is the way to go. Having cash is the way to go. But still, you got to have some stocks, man. I mean, I don't know how old my man Gravy is, but, at the end of the day, you always got to look at what if we're wrong. I mean, you always got to look at it. I still have stocks. I mean, I got some cash. I got some gold, some silver. But gold and silver isn't part of my portfolio. I mean, it's just not. I don't look at that like that. I look at gold and silver as my dystopian bartering tools, if that makes sense. So in my liquid assets, everything's in stocks, except I got a sizable amount of cash in a bank account. I'm still in, and the reason is I'm not pulling anything out. I'm putting stuff in. So even if the markets were to go Japanish, I'm still adding to it. The difference is if you're pulling stuff out or you're no longer adding to it. That's where you got to be a lot more protected. But there's no look, man. If you're still putting money in, there's no reason to be nervous. And the market goes down, it's a good thing if you're investing. You want the markets to go down. The markets go down Japan-ish, and you're still plugging money in for the next 10 to 15 years. That's like ideal. Absolutely. I mean, just think about it. If you started your career in Japan in 1990, all right, let's whatever, and you're just plugging money in each and every month, you're putting money in. By the time 2013 rolled around, you were buying some cheap ass shares for 23 years. Now Japan is not back to even Steven, but it's up significantly where it was in 2013, and you're still. I mean, you cannot pick a better retirement plan than having gone through what Japan did. Buying low, buying lower, buying lower, buying lower, buying lower, buying higher, buy high, buy higher, buy higher. Now I'm retired at the top. I mean, you're in a good place. So if you're still plugging money in, my friends, don't get too nervous, man. It's different if you're on the decumulation track, though, where you're like, man, I got 1 or 2 years. I can't have a Japan before I start pulling money out. You can't do it. All right. Michael Watson says he can turn 62 in December. About 6 months ago, he checked Social Security. He said, I'm eligible. He's eligible for $19.08 a month at 62. Now that COLA was announced, it hasn't changed. You got to wait until they give you a new Social Security statement. So Social Security doesn't update it every day. You got to wait on an annual basis. All right. I'm just a caveman lawyer. I don't know such thing as your world as a retirement planning. Phil Hartman for the win, man. I'm just a caveman lawyer. Your ways scare me as he's driving his BMW. Oh, that's such a classic thing. I love that. That was classic. Oh, Gupper says I've helped us so much. Added gratitude. You got it, man. Okay, here I go. Tim was in ICU for 7 days. We have Cobra, about $2,000 a month. We live in California. I just got the bill for the hospital, $223,000. And my part of the BI? BI something insurance? Bill. It's good, man. We're going to a single payer. I hate it. I hate that. It's going to come. They're going to a single payer. And it's going to be no different than Mexico. They're going to have private entities that offer you better service, expedited services, cleaner services. And then you're going to have the regular for everybody else. There's no other way around that. It's going to happen. We're not going to NHS as England because everyone knows NHS is a clown show. Clap for the NHS. When I heard that crap, I was like, this is freaking frightening. How dare you don't clap for the NHS? I want to clap for your stupid NHS. We're not going to Canada. Why do you think all the people from Canada come down here? But at the end of the day, a single payer is happy. I don't like it. It sucks. But I mean, look, there we go. 223,000. Now her insurance is going to cover that for the most part, but still not going to be chump change old Kim here either, on top of paying $2,000 a month. It's crazy. This is just, it's not sustainable the way it's going. Never mind that, we do all the subsidizing for the pharmaceuticals to make all these prescription or all these drugs that we need. And then they get to freaking give away all over the world. And then we got to pay the $700 a pill, even for the companies that we subsidize. No wonder why Pfizer has 9 newly minted billionaires or something like that. Crazy. Barron's cover retail revival. Stay away from the D. I'm not sure what that is. Yep. I bonds from Treasury Director yielding 7.12. Did a video on that. Her bill is $600. All right, so here we go. So here we go. Sold Kim. I got a bill for $223,000. Her part of the bill was $600. All right. Well, I'm glad to hear that. I thought it might be your total out of pocket max. The whole thing is just it's such a freaking clown show. The idea that no one knows. It's like, why 223,000? Why that? $223,963.00. Why? Well, we're just pulling that out of the air. These guys are all clowns. But I'm glad you only got $600 to pay on that, Kim. That's good stuff. Well, that's the thing. So does cash have 100% probability of losing real value, at least at the inflation rate? Yeah, 100%, man. I mean, if inflation's at 6.2, cash is not getting 6.2. It's not. And this is the dichotomy we're in, is we have this is the stagflation. We have huge inflation. The federal government just can't start raising short-term interest rates. They can do whatever they want, but you can't just do that. You can't just say we're going to raise rates to match the level of inflation. You can't do that. Now, they might raise them by 50 basis points, which is basically more. I think that'd be a doubling where you are today. That's still not keeping up. You're still losing 5% a year right now. Yeah, the federal government, the Federal Reserve Board, their hands are so tied. They can't look, because they think lowering interest rates increases economic growth. Japan shows you it did not. The United States shows you it does not. It does not. It just doesn't. And so, on the other hand, they think raising interest rates declines inflation. And that's what they think happened in 1982 with Paul Volcker. It's just not true, man. I mean, there's a correlation there that they raise interest rates and the economy, inflation stopped, but they also raised interest rates from the 1970s and the inflation didn't stop. So the idea that Paul Volcker came around and he raised interest rates and all of a sudden we whipped inflation now. Well, what happened in 1976, 1977, 1978, 1979? And rates are going up then too. But inflation kept going up. So what happened? Well, what happened was they took the top off of an economy that they're holding down on gold, on travel, on all this. Hey, I got a super chat. Right on. Who's my super chat? All right. Hey, so by the way, if you want to get to the front of the line, you pay this evil guy with a super chat, as Vortex did. That's good stuff. All right. Husband's company is eliminating the pension. They offer 100% joint survivor option. Do we choose option now or 10 years out when we take it? Man, you shouldn't have to choose it now. I don't think. Well, I mean, you should choose the joint survivor thing. I mean, I guess if you guys are still an item, but you shouldn't have to. I've never heard that you have to make that definitive choice today. That doesn't make any sense. You make that choice when you go to file for the pension. So yeah, I wouldn't sweat that. But I appreciate the $5. All right. I wonder if we had ACA with the see right on, Kim. Me too. I guarantee your private insurance company is getting destroyed. And yeah, if you had ACA, actually, I don't know, because I don't know. I wonder what it would have been too. Don't know. Can I just say, let's just say old Kim did not have insurance here. All right, just hear me out. So this guy says, thank God for insurance. Really? So let's just say Kim did not have insurance. and she will not get billed for 223. We know that for a fact because it's such a clown show. Let's say she got billed for $100,000. I'm just hear me out for a second. I wonder if there's something she could do to say, I can't. That's gonna literally break the bank, if you know what I'm saying. That's gonna rupt the bank. You see what I'm saying? What's the wrong with doing that? I'm not saying you should do it. I'm just saying at the end of the day, if it's you versus the bank, and the bank's going to win at your expense, what's wrong with saying I'm not going to? I can't break the bank. I mean, you got to look at your own situation, but Kim didn't make the rules, and at the end of the day, you're like, dude, where these fees come from? Because there's no, the fees are completely made up, man, completely made up. It's just that simple. You say, well, I can't pay this made up fee. Yeah, I'm just telling you, at the end of the day, you're not going to get anyone to say, I can't believe you did that. And I'm going back to my man asked my question before about if I've changed my mind. I have changed my mind quite a bit. Absolutely. I used to be a very radical libertarian, and now I'm a very radical populist with libertarian bent. If that makes sense. I don't believe in the death penalty, even though I really get angry sometimes, but I know that's my revengefulness coming out because I don't trust the government as far as I can kick them. I don't trust our Department of Defense. I don't trust our FBI. I don't trust our CIA as far as I can kick them. I used to cannot stand Frank Church. If some of you older guys will know who Frank Church was in the Church Commission, now I'm like, dude, Frank Church, freaking hero. Eugene Debs used to not stand that guy, and now I'm like, hero, 100%. Muhammad Ali, 100%, man. 100%. I'm against the draft. You're a liberal. No, I'm not. I'm actually 100% against abortion. I 100% in favor of the Second Amendment. You can buy whatever the hell you want to buy, as long as you don't shoot somebody who wasn't. Don't kill. Don't hurt people. You're good. Completely think all drugs should be legalized. You can do whatever you want with your body. 100%. Don't care. Don't ask us to bail you out. But at the end of the day, this is the nature that we're living in, is that you don't have responsibility for your choices. But at the end of the day, the war on drugs is a complete fallacy, a complete sham, does nothing but create chaos in the inner cities. And if we're going to get real on the war on drugs, Hunter Biden should have been in jail many, many years ago. Everyone knew Hunter Biden and that chick, Ashley Biden. Everyone knew the Biden family was corrupt as the day is long when it came to drugs. Let me just tell you this. I used to be a bartender in a bar right outside on the Wilson Bridge or Key Bridge. Wilson, right? So you got Georgetown right here. You got Arlington right here. There's a bridge. I can't remember if it's the Wilson or the Key Bridge. I forgot. I used to, tons of DC Capitol Hill people would come in. You hear stories all the time about some of the most right-wing people that you're familiar with who were big back in the 90s. Lots of stuff going on that they should all be in jail for if we truly had a war on drugs. We don't have a war on drugs. We have a war on poor people is what that is. Absolutely. I'll never forget this guy coming in, a big right-winger too. Capitol Hill, he said, man, he's getting drunk. And I say, yeah. He goes, man, I'm not going to say any names, but let's just put it this way. Some very prominent Republican congressional people had staffers high up that were engaging in illicit activity that had to do with the white substance that you sniff up your nose. And not just snorting it either. They were doing that, but involved in transacting it. And everyone knew about the Biden family. Hell, I knew about Biden's from back then. Everyone knew this. They knew they're all friggin' drug addicts, 100%. And yet they're not in jail. But we're gonna put that poor black kid in jail for freaking having a dime of marijuana. It's freaking nuts. So they should legalize all that crap. It's stupid, and we're making the drug cartels rich. And the suburban rich kids, they never go to jail. So it's not a war on drugs, it's a war on poor people. Crazy. I 100% think there should be a wealth tax. Absolutely. 100%. I'm sick of the rich people, man. I'm sick of them saying, oh, but I did that. No, if a guy from Pfizer has if they've now minted 9 billionaires, that is some of us. We have socialized the risk by they can't get sued for their Maxine Waters. They literally can't, and they're privatizing the profits. That's not good. You can't do that. And I'm 100% for nuclear. I'm 100% pro fossil fuels, by the way, just as an FYI. And I love Jesus. 100%. That's all that matters is my relationship with the big guy upstairs. So you go to God, family, country. It's not God, country, family. It's God, family, country. Country is second behind God and is first behind family. Family comes first all the time, 100%. So, have I changed my opinion? Yeah, 100%, man. I used to be very upset when the Bill Clinton DOJ took on Microsoft. Now I'm like, the DOJ needs to be taking on more of these companies, man. I'm on one right here. Yeah, YouTube is owned by Google. 93% of search goes through Google or YouTube. That's a monopoly. It shouldn't be allowed. Yeah, yeah. All right, let's keep going. All right. Yeah, that's the thing with MetaShare. Yeah, there's MetaShare is a tough one because you're literally sharing the cost among other people. But with that said, that's why MetaShare does a pretty good underwriting on the front end to make sure you're not. This is the problem with insurance. The problem with guaranteed issue insurance too is no one would buy insurance on their house until their house is on fire. If that makes sense. This is the issue when you have guaranteed automatic coverage. You're like, I'm not going to buy insurance until I need it. That's not the way insurance is supposed to work. And so what MetaShare does is they police up the pre-existing risks because they say we can't have people who've been paying in all of a sudden get huge bill by someone who hasn't paid in. And this is what we don't have. This is not health insurance that we're dealing with by far. It's not even close to health insurance because when it's guaranteed issue, i.e., pre-existing conditions, you have to issue it. It's not insurance anymore because insurance would say we can't cover you because we're basically sharing the risk among our insured among the group. But now you're getting in here and you're going to cost an arm and a leg. It's not fair to the other people in the group. And that's the nature of the beast. Now, the pre-existing conditions say, well, it's not fair to me either. Well, yeah, it's not. For insurance, we can do other things, a public option, but we shouldn't. You shouldn't be thrown in. We shouldn't throw you into the general population when you have pre-existing conditions. You just shouldn't, man. Now, that doesn't mean we shouldn't find some other way. And this whole thing with the Obamacare, which is why I hated it. They were totally ruining the whole private insurance to cover 6 million people because that was the number of people who were uninsured because of pre-existing conditions. You know, you can't. You're ruining this for everybody else so we can get these 6 million people insured. And it turns out a good amount of people are still uninsured under Obamacare. It's crazy. And now look, Obama, to his credit, he did it right. He said we're going to mandate that you have insurance because everyone's got to play a part. Now, I hated that back then, but it had to be. It had to have the mandate so you can have what's called free riders. I'm not going to buy insurance until I need it. I'm not going to cover my house until it's on fire. That's a free rider. And so Obama said, no, you can't have that. We're going to have you have to pay because we're all in this together. Now, the whole thing was freaking corrupt from the day is long. You got to pass the bill to find out what's in it. Remember Pelosi? No, I don't want to pass the bill to find out what's in it. I want to find out what's in it now. It's crazy. And actually, there's a time they were actually they're going to deem it passed. This was freaking scary stuff, man. They weren't even take a vote on it. They're going to deem it passed. And there's people in the New York Times said, yeah, let's deem it. I was like, how is this possible? You're not going to take a vote. You're going to deem it passed because the Speaker of the House says it's passed. This was freaking insane. And the libs in the media were like, yeah, it's nuts. Now, to their credit, they took the risk and they voted. They raised their hands and they got smoked in 2010. Damage was done. And whether Republicans offer nothing. That's the nature of the Republicans. We're going to throw up a fight, but ultimately we'll be just as left. And I heard Dan Crenshaw was in the Copenhagen 26 thing. And I don't know what's behind that, but that concerned me greatly. I'm hoping he's going out there to represent fossil fuels and represent nuclear. I hope he's not going out there to try to make the Republicans, the cool kids like Matt Gaetz or Gates or whatever that kind of name is in Florida. Yeah, if we're going to appeal to the young, we've got to be green. Freaking idiots, man. I've been down this rodeo many, many times. And if Crenshaw is out there in COP 26 trying to appease the left-wing lunatics with their anti-fossil fuel and anti-nuclear to say, let's just meet halfway. Don't vote for that guy. I don't know. I'm not saying that's why he's there. I don't know. But I heard that Dan Crenshaw was in Copenhagen with a rhino Republican. I said, that's not good. So find out more before you start saying, we want Crenshaw to run for vice president. That did not make me happy at all because I've seen this with the Republicans when Newt Gingrich sitting on the bench with Nancy Pelosi. Yeah, The climate change is bad. I say, but you Republicans always give. They always do. It's always Nancy Pelosi's never going to sit on the bench of Newt Gingrich talking about freaking, I don't know, increasing Second Amendment rights. So why do we sit on the bench of Nancy Pelosi talking about reducing our freedoms with carbon taxes and getting rid of fossil fuels? No. All right. So here's Ben was having a hard time typing this out. Retail revival. My advice was stay away from Dawsonville Outlet Mall. It's a madhouse. Yeah, I was up at in Cumming just today. Went up to Barnes and Noble, taking my boy to get some books. Richard Matheson is one I want him to read, which he's looking forward to. Richard Matheson, that guy's just freaking awesome. Anyway, and it was a madhouse up there. Barnes and Noble was pretty in and out, but there's hard to get parking, and that was cool. Do any companies ask me to pump their stocks? No, but I get weekend home projects. If that's your YouTube channel, put a link in the show notes. No, but it's funny. I get emails from cons all the time, like, we think you'd be a good fit. But I was like, no, I'm not taking your stupid. I'm not gonna. If I ever get a sponsorship, it'll be for like a rifle, in which YouTube will never allow. It'd be for Patriot Supply was on me like what? It's just I saw my man Jericho Green shilling for Patriot Supply, and I was like, damn, dude, that kind of disappointed me because they're on me like white and rice too. And Jericho Green's got a bigger audience, but I was like, I didn't like how they did it. They were like, it was weird. They give me sales like they must think I'm new to sales. I was like, dude, these are sales tactics from like 1935 life insurance guys, man. It was embarrassing. So my Patriot Supply or something like that, I was like, no, I'm not hawking your stuff. I didn't like their sales tactics at all. But I do think you need to get some freeze dried food 100%. I get Augustin Farms. I actually want to hear something crazy. A guy I think I was working with in Colorado said he met somebody in a Walmart buying some Augustin Farms freeze dried, and they talked about me. I was like, ooh, that's kind of creepy. So some chick was in the aisle buying some Augustin Farms, and he was in there too. They got up a conversation, and my name came up. I said, that's kind of creepy. It was cool, but it's kind of creepy too. It's like old Josh, little Josh from Peaks Island, Maine. People in Colorado are talking about him. It's kind of crazy. Yeah, so that's the thing. If crypto is so good, why would they need us to pump it? I don't. I look when I see it all comes to my spam. I delete it. I try to get with LegalZoom.com to be not a sponsor, but to be an affiliate, so I can get paid. Because I refer 2 people a day to them, but they never got back to me. So they can whatever. That's the one thing. But even then, I'm like, I don't know. It doesn't whatever. I mean, I get sponsorships. I get it at the end of the day. But I don't know. There's very few and far. I'm trying to think what I want to be a sponsorship for. I don't know. I mean, Cake Mama up in Bangor, Maine. You know what I'm saying? Amato's Subs up in Maine. Let's see what's down here that, I mean, stuff I use on a regular basis. Hell, if they want to sponsor me, I'll do that all day long. But where would I have my TSP invested? Well, I mean, my investments are all VTI, which is the C fund and S fund at TSP. So that's me. That doesn't mean you should do it, but all right, here comes Jennifer. Do you think one should take the money out of the market and put in an annuity fund when it retire? I mean, I don't know because I don't know what else is going on behind that question. What are we trying to accomplish with the annuity? So if we're trying to guarantee something, this is why I like my barbell approach. 4 years cash and the rest in Wellington. 4 years, if you want to be more aggressive, 4 years cash and the rest in VTI. It's tough to beat that. 4 years cash, Wellington, 4 years cash, VTI, depending how aggressive you want to be. I just think it's simple, it's cheap, it's easy, accessible, and it's easy. I like it. Is it the perfect portfolio? No, because there's nothing perfect. Nobody's perfect except for Jesus, and I'm not Jesus, and no one who manages money is perfect either. All right, let's see. All right, so this is a good question. What's a good Vanguard account to park cash in? Says Broken Arrow Guitar, and we got Guitar Hero here. I always talk about the Ginnie Mae fund. I don't know what your circumstances are, who you are, or anything, but I love the Vanguard Ginnie Mae. Always have, always have. And I think it's a great fund to look at. Fidelity's got its own version of Ginnie Mae. I'm not sure. I don't know if Schwab. I'm sure there's a. Actually, I don't know. But Vanguard Ginnie Mae fund and the Fidelity Ginnie Mae fund, I think, is an appropriate place to have cash. Now, you can't write checks against it. I could have sworn when I was at Vanguard in the late '90s, you could write checks against the Ginnie Mae. I don't think you. I'm sure you can't anymore, but maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, I love Ginnie Mae. It's 100%. I mean, it's not cash, just FYI, but it's. I've done thousands of videos to talk about that, so I'm a big fan. All right, here's Dean. He's male, 60 years old in the U.S. He's on disability income. Can I move to Panama and still collect SSDI? And how long? Yeah, I'm not an expert on Social Security disability. Sorry, man. Jill says she doesn't use Medicare. She uses another one, I think Liberty or something like that. But a different one that has a great record of paying big bills. So I don't know about Medicare, but just all right, good. Yeah, Vinyl. So they I tell you, that Medicare Part B was huge. I don't know what Sniffy. This is. I mean, I don't know what the hell's going on in DC. I just like these guys are like, it's almost like they're deliberately, saying, try and vote us out of office. And I know in theory, the Medicare and Social Security are exempt from politicians, and that's the way it should be. But I tell you, man, on the back of all this crazy, this is nuts to me. It's like, as much as I can't stand Sniffy, this is was it 14.9% increase in Medicare? I just find that frightening. It's insane to me. And it's just he's getting hit every which way. And I chuckle, but man, yeah, it is stiff. It's crazy. And remember the hold harmless provision, my friends. And everyone's like, "Oh, I'm going to lose Social Security." No, you're not. You're not. This is one of the benefits of taking Social Security at 65 is to keep you from within the hold harmless provision. But at the end of the day, just remember your Medicare is still only $170 a month, whereas before it was 150. So it's gone up by $20 a month. Your Social Security, if you're at $2,000 a month, is up 5.9% a year. So a month. So I don't even know what that is. That's $120 a month. So you're still netting $70 a month. So the whole hold harmless provision is still not in force anyway, because you haven't lost money on your Social Security benefit. You just haven't. You still gain. All right. We got right here. Made 7K mistake on brokerage account rebalance back in September. Frustrated that there's so much that I don't know that I don't. Yeah, right on. Well, that's how you learn, brother. You make mistakes. It's okay. Hey, this guy. Haven't seen this guy around for a long time. No, I can't. Can't recommend a good aggressive growth mutual fund. Callahan says Wellington or Wellesley these days. It just depends. It literally just depends on your ability to deal with the risk. Hey, James is in the house. Ooh, I haven't looked over here at Rumble for a while. Anyone on Rumble? Hey, we got some comments. All right, sweet. What is Medicare Part B? Yeah, that's what we're talking about here, man. All right, Jeremy's got his books. WEP is a windfall elimination provision. You would know it if it's applicable to you. It's about Social Security, and people have got a basically government pension where they did not pay into Social Security. Wealth tax on companies that are subsidized by taxpayers. Wealth tax on unsubsidized companies is different. I mean, okay. What is Medicare Part B? It's just what the physician services when you hit sick, when you're on Medicare. That's what it is. Physician services. All right. All right. All right. Here's John the Maestro. In one of your videos, you recommend Wellesley for non-retirement funds, but another video said not to use mutual funds in non-retirement. Which you say? Well, yes. Ideally, you want ETFs in your brokerage account. That's why I have VTI in my brokerage account. ideally, but there is no equivalent ETF of Wellesley. And Wellesley doesn't have it. I don't think it has an ETF, but it's still, I'm almost positive it doesn't. But if it hasn't for a while, it might, of the last 6 months, I highly suspect it doesn't. I hope not. But because there's no ETF of Wellesley, then yeah, you buy it in the mutual fund. What's it going to do, man? I mean, ideally, your Wellesley will be in your IRA, and your stocks, your VTI will be in your brokerage account. But if that's not possible, and you like Wellesley, there's no real options to do there. So at the end of the day, my preference is Wellesley in your IRA, your pre-tax money, VTI in your post-tax money, and cash and cash. It's such a great portfolio. Cash in your broker, in your bank, VTI in your brokerage account, Wellesley in your IRA. I just, why make it harder than that? If you roll your 401k to your current employer and retire in the year you turn 55, does the rule of 55 rule treat Roth 401k the same as traditional 401ks? Yeah, good question. I would think, I don't know. I would think they would. I mean, the Roth is still going to be, no, because we're talking about the penalty. No, I don't think they would now. I think about it. It's a good question, Danny. Because a traditional 401ks, the rule of 55 is you're talking about not having to pay the penalty. You still got to pay the tax. So the Roth IRA, because you're not 59 and a half, you still have to pay the tax on gains. Yeah, I don't think it would. That's a good question, brother. Good. That's some good thinking there, man. Star for you. Remember, if you want to jump ahead of the line, folks, and you want to super chat, I'm happy to take your super chats. Is it time to take some profits again? Oh boy. Man, I don't know. I don't know. Here's what I'm not. Let's put it that way. So I haven't taken any profits, just as an FYI. I'm not in the business of taking profits more than once a year. I think the S&P is only up, 13%. I mean, I say only. It's not up that much this year. So if you've already taken profits, you should be fine. I don't think the S&P is up that much from when we talked about this last in May. Yeah, I don't think so. Heart flight. You got it, John. Solidarity, says Jill. She used Solidarity. Share, health share. Started by Catholic doctor some 8 years ago, I think. If you don't lie on the app, you are good. Exactly. I personally do not trust big insurance companies. No, me either. Me either, Jill. My announcement said a 7? No, it didn't on StreamYard because I don't think so. Because StreamYard had me down for a 543. I don't think it did. I'm 7 p.m. maybe your time. No. That's I don't know what it is, but I'm Eastern time, man. So I'm almost positive I didn't have it down for 7. I'm almost positive because when I jumped on board, it had the ticker said 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So I think I'm right. All right. So Jeremy's really forced you to buy health insurance. The Republicans don't have a spine. No, that's what Obamacare was. It said if we're going to make you, if we're going to look, this is why it's not health insurance, Jeremy. That's the issue. If you have under guaranteed issue, it's not insurance anymore. It's not. It's a subsidy. This is the point. If you're going to subsidize people with guaranteed issue, you got to make sure that everyone pays for the subsidy. Now, you might not like it. I don't like it either. So I'm like, why should I subsidize people who are guaranteed issue? But that's the nature of the government system we're in. They voted for it and they got smoked in 2010, but now that's where we are, is guaranteed issue, which means they can't turn you away from pre-existing conditions. And as such, we have to make sure that everyone is part of the system, pre-existing or not. Now, again, we can argue about it, but the argument's passed. It is what it is. And if we're going to make this where where we can't just say you can get insurance, only you can wait for your house to catch fire before you get insurance, because that would put bankrupt everybody. I mean, it's already done. That's why Medicare is going up so much, and Medicare is broke right now. But if we want this to, everyone has to chip in, and that's just the nature of the beast. Now, again, it's not going away. It's going to get worse because, again, I cannot argue enough. If you don't have insurance where you're paying into it, and all of a sudden you need insurance, the system can't continue to operate. This is why the whole thing with illegal immigrants is so nuts, man. Did you hear about there's a Republican who wants to put troops on the Polish border? Was it a Republican? No, it might have been a Democrat. They want to put troops on the Polish border, whatever it was, for Russia and stuff. You're like, dude, we want to put troops on these foreign borders, but we have our own border right here that has no troops on it. Isn't that crazy? You're freaking these people can kiss my butt. Oh, by the way, look, stop this anti-China crap. I'm telling you, all these people, China, China, China. There's no China doesn't. How many freaking posts does China have overseas military operations? Now, I know they're using slave labor. I get that. I know they're going to Africa trying to use slave labor. I get that too. That's horrible. But I'm sorry, as we sit here today, the idea that China is ready to freaking take over the world, I just find to be fanciful. I just don't see it. When America's got freaking foreign posts all over the damn place. I mean, who's the true expeditionary force? Is China or us? It's us, without question. I mean, it's just nuts. All these people like China. I'm like, you are being played if you think China is the enemy. It's the same way I say you're being played if you think the Muslims are the enemy. They're not. It's so much bigger than that. It's not China. It's not the Muslims. It's freaking the globalist crowd. And so this goes right on right here about China destroying globalism. Isn't globalism bad? Yeah, 100% globalism is bad. I don't care who does it. Exactly. So I'm 100%. If it takes China to destroy it, then more power to them. And like my man Vox Day said, he goes, the friggin' globalists are the enemy of all Western Christians. It's not China. It's not. It's the globalists, man. These people are bad. I'll take a Muslim any day of the week over these atheists and freaking Davos crowd any day of the week. And you should too. You should too. I'll take a Jew any day of the week over the Davos crowd, as you should too. I'll take a Christian any day of the week over the Davos crowd, as you should too. The Abrahamic religions. We're all brothers in that. Now, we might have different ways of looking at it, but my goodness, the atheists don't. They want control and they want you at their heel. I don't get why people are so focused. I get it, so focused on China, because I used to be too. I did too. Not gonna lie to you. It's not China, the Communist Party of China, CPC. It's not. I mean, they're bad. Don't get me wrong, but that's not the freaking threat. The threat is right in front of us. Some of these clowns are in DC right now, working for the FBI. All right, 100%. Vino says the rental property in St. Paul will be bought by ruthless crooks who will make money off them. Yeah. All right. I don't think ACA is for the healthy. ACA is guaranteed issue. That's the thing about ACA. Again, guaranteed issue means that basically no underwriting. So ACA is not for the healthy. ACA, that's the whole point about the Affordable Care Act and why it's so freaking expensive, because we're insuring people who otherwise would not get insurance. Now we can make an argument about whether it's moral or not. The argument is no longer. There's no reason to make this argument because it's a done deal. But you guaranteed issue means even if you have pre-existing conditions, you get ACA. My man said I was so close from being transferred to Minneapolis due to work before the whole riding thing. Oh, that's fantastic. Decide against a pay cut and to stay in the Bay Area, man. Right on. Yeah, thank you, Harry. I actually agree with Sailor. I think China's. I 100%. I think China's. It's not. It's going to collapse in the way we envision China being this ruthless global domination. But it's not going to. It's still going to be China. It's still going to be America. It's just going to be more internal, and I think Xi Jinping is going to see that actually. And, they're going to, like all commies, they built up their military. But I just think what's going to happen is more internal focus. And I think that's a good thing. Now, there's going to be some bad characters, and there's always going to be people, Americanese. I don't know if y'all remember Yemen. It's like 30 years ago. I remember watching a Ted Koppel thing on, I think it was Yemen. And, it was brutal people in the streets being brutal to other people. And it's horrible. And your first reaction is, we got to do something. Just no more of this, because there's always going to be something going on all over the world. There's always going to be Tutsis and Hutus, and you can't. Who's going to go and stop these people? My kids? Hell no. Which is why I don't want to draft. Why the hell were we in World War One to begin with? It just doesn't make any sense. And so you're sitting there thinking, no, I'm not sending my kids to Yemen, not sending my kids to freaking fight the Hutus against the Tutsis. No, none of this. No, sorry. This is the Democrat, and this is, I tell you, man, the best way to ensure dominance of the globalists is war, because war kills off the young men. Why do you think they want to draft? Why do you think they want wars? They want the young men killed off so they have less resistance. And then the women who are sitting there trying to raise their kids say, I'll do whatever. Just give me freaking bread and make sure that I'm safe. Just, ugh. Yeah, I don't see this thing. What are the economic actions required to pull America back from the collapse everyone's preaching? I don't know if there's gonna be a collapse. I mean, Mark, I mean, there might be. I don't know. I mean, when I say a collapse, I'm just talking again a Japan-like stock market with the 70s like inflation, with low interest rates. That's gonna be horrible for a lot of people. But remember, even during the Great Depression, 75% of the population still had jobs. Just remember that. Even up to the highest of the Great Depression, 25% of the labor force was out of work, but 75% of the people still had jobs. The vast majority of people did not starve to death. The vast majority of people. It's just we've been bombarded with the images, black and white, of men at the breadline. The vast majority of people still have jobs. The vast majority of people still have food. Now, we did have an environmental apocalypse in Oklahoma, and the dry weather, the hot weather, all kinds of huge. Just watch Tony Heller. He explains it. Which is the whole thing about this whole thing. Like, oh my goodness, the hottest ever. Huge forest fires, just huge floods, just everything you could possibly imagine happened in the 30s. Crop failures, everything that coincided with FDR telling farmers to plow, some of their fields. You can't have gold, all that stuff. But I mean, even then, a lot of the Americans still did fine. They were poor. They weren't able to buy two-color TVs. I get it. There was no color TV. I get it. I grant you, there's no TV. But at the end of the day, people were poor. They didn't have all the clothes, all the stuff we have. We survived. We survived. So an economic collapse, the way I look at it, is that people are going to be so heavy in leverage and debt, and they're going to get smoked. And that could have ramifications, probably will, on the overall economy. But one of the ways to not get smoked so much is make sure you have your own storage of food. Make sure you don't have that much debt. You know what I'm saying? And just try to watch what you spend, man. The way of the last 40 years is coming to an end. I really believe that. And that's just basically spending like there's no tomorrow. It can't continue on like this. And that's not just the government. Everyone wants to blame the government, but then you look at everyone in their own wallet, and you're like, what are you spending money on? Not you, Mark, but what's your debt to income? You know what I'm saying? What's your cash flow like? We got this little piece of plastic, this thing right here. It's not a credit card, but it's a Costco shop card. And we say, yeah, I'll give it to you, I'll give it to you. And I don't care until next month. I mean, that is going to come, in my opinion, to an end in terms of not credit card or anything like that, but I'm just saying just conspicuous, or is it inconspicuous? Conspicuous consumption, whatever that is, where people just buying just for the sake of buying. I think that those days are going to come to an end. It's going to be more so like the 70s. I really believe that. People did fine, but they weren't rich. You know what I'm saying? And that's okay. It's coming. And the reason I think isn't because China. It's because of the insanity of CO2 and the focus on ridding the world of fossil fuels with not offering nuclear as the alternative. And when you have high energy prices, the whole world doesn't collapse. It can't grow. You need low energy, and they're literally doing whatever they can to make our pay more energy. It's evil. It's actually dastardly, but it's freaking genius when you think about it. Couch the whole. We couldn't get people scared about CO2, so now we're going to couch the whole world with a pandemic, and that will ultimately give us to our desire, which is you have this rich elite who can fly over the world in their private jets, and everybody else is taking the Greyhound bus. Yeah. But it's just because economic collapse doesn't mean it's like we're all going to be eating bread lines. We're all going to be freaking eating what the World Economic Forum wants us to eat, which is bugs. We won't own anything by 2030. We'll like it. No, not necessarily. Now, some blue cities, it will be like that. 100%. You can see that a mile away. It's kind of like that already, though. Why do you think rent control is such a winning proposition for blue cities? because most people don't own anything. Most people rent. And when they're renting and they're the majority, they tell their mayor, hey, we want rent control. We want you to take private property and give it to us. It's exactly what happens here. And as such, they're like, yeah. But in most places, at least down here in the South, and a lot of places in the Midwest, we're based and we're not like that, man. We're saying, no, we're not doing that crap. So you gotta get it right 100%. Don't move to a city with an NFL team. They're all blue. Yeah. Well, Nashville's blue, dude. I don't know about Green Bay. Nashville's blue. Kansas City's pretty blue too. My understanding is, but Nashville's freaking crazy liberal, crazy liberal. My man Jake is going to the supplemental route, and the long run advantage plans are no bargain from what I can see. We shall see. We shall see. All right. So Travis says, hey, so when you throw your estimates on Social Security retirements out there, be sure and tell what you're referring to. I don't know what you talk about. That's okay. Yeah, right here. Here in Connecticut, we have the upper crust approach to a blue state. They cater to the wealthy. Just sold my house within 48 hours of listing it for. That's crazy. A couple from Mass bought our house. Yeah. So there's, and you're not so sure, but there's a lot of blue state red people, reds who are fleeing blue states and going to freedom states. I don't know about this case specific with old James here, but I'm telling you, man, you see a California tags, don't think they're the enemy. Don't think, because a lot of these Californians are moving. A lot of Massachusetts are moving. They want to be free. They want to be free. They don't want to be peppered with liberal tyranny all the time. That's great. Rent control is definitely Chavez socialism, 100%. Result no homes or apartments to be built and then not to be rented. Yeah. Tony, are you challenging the CDC? How dare you? I can't even read that on air. Get a 3% raise in January. When I retire, I get 70% of salary. Was a tax for cashing in a 457B? Depends. Most of these are just deferred comp, so it's just ordinary income tax. Some, if memory serves, it depends on whether or not you paid Social Security on it when you defer the comp. So it's been a while since I actually concocted these kind of plans, but a lot of the deferred comp, they did not take out Social Security. Some of the deferred comp, they didn't take out Social Security when you literally deferred your comp. And as such, you might have to pay Social Security tax on it. I don't think that's that prevalent anymore. It seems like it's mostly just coming as ordinary income tax, but that's what it is. It's OI, ordinary income. I have a SEP IRA. Can I create a regular IRA plus JMJ? Get what JMJ is. Yeah, so if SEP IRA is an employer-sponsored plan, right? And if memory serves, Amanda, you can, because if a SEP IRA is employer-sponsored, a regular IRA is your own you base your own individual. So it seems like I used to have the designation on employer-sponsored plans. I can't remember what it's called anymore. It's freaking 15 years ago. I'm almost positive you can. Because one's an employer plan and one's just an individual plan. I don't know if that has changed. And I can't remember. It's a CH. No, I can't remember what the CRPS, CSRS. I can't remember. It's a Chartered Retirement Plan Specialist. Chartered Retirement Plan. CRPS. That's what it was. Chartered Retirement Plan Specialist. Yeah. I don't keep it anymore. I always think you should have some cash. Always, Alex. 100%. Another guitarist here, man. Hopefully some metalheads and not 1980s rock. 1980s Bon Jovi, man. That's metal. No, 1980s Bon Jovi was just chick music. It's not metal. Give me a break. If you're a chick, if you like chick music, I'm just being silly. I don't like it, but actually my wife just said, Tears for Fears is coming to Atlanta. I said, I've heard that band. I don't know anything they do. And then she started playing some of her songs. So yeah, I heard that. Oh yeah, I heard that. I've heard that too. I said, oh, 80s music. Oh, good. Does anyone have an anvil? Oh, you know what you can do? Oh. This right here is from my wife's dad when he died. This is some kind of Irish mallet thing. So anytime we can hear 80s music, I can just pound this on my head. 80s music. Or anytime someone says, let's see, what else would be a good thing for, other thing for? So we got 80s music, we can pound that. Or Social Security won't be there for me. The Democrats care about the working people. I'm just going to use this to pound on my head. This thing's heavy, man. Blink. Blink. It's pretty cool, though. I forgot what they call these things. Some kind of Irish mallet. All right, guys. Let's see. I'm going to skip to the very end here just because. All right. Inflation, price of demand. Do you. Man, I don't know, Chicken Charlie. I mean, so we have. Someone made it. So Charlie says, "Do I think the inflation this time will be higher than the '70s?" So someone made a good point that they're not gauging it the same way than they did in the '70s. And the point was, if they gauge it the way they did in the '70s, I'm drawing a blank. It was going to be higher or lower. I think they said if they gauge it the same way they did in the '70s, it'd be significantly higher than what they're doing today. So if that's the case, then it probably will be significantly higher. But I don't know, man. Yeah, right here. So this is basic economics. Tim's getting it. Sooner or later, prices rise, demand will decrease. 100%, absolutely. Demand decreases. In theory, the prices will drop. In theory, but then you got to look at cost of goods sold. And if the cost of goods sold no one's going to, this is where socialism, so in theory, you have a market, prices get too high, demand drops, and prices will drop to reflect the drop in demand. Not necessarily. When you have government intervention creating high energies, I mean, literally high energy price, and energy goes into everything. Everything is made with fossil fuels, man. Everything. And if fossil fuels are going through the roof because of evil globalist, not the Chinese, mind you, the evil globalist, you can only reduce the price so much because you still have to turn a profit. And then what happens? Then you have scarcity because people say, I'm not going to build these products anymore because I can't sell them for what people are willing to pay, which makes the prices go higher because there's still going to be a demand, but now supply has dropped even more. And this is going back to Chavez in Venezuela. This happens all the time in socialist economies. They price the producers out. The demand is still there. It might be lower because the price is high, but there's still a demand, but there's no more suppliers. And then what happens? It all goes under in the black market. As Hernando de Soto, The Other Path talks about the black market in Peru. This happens all the time. It happened in Greece. They don't want to pay taxes, so it goes under market. It happens in the drug war. And there was like, yeah, you should legalize marijuana, just tax it to death. That's idiotic, man. It'll go underground. That's stupid. People are just dumb when they don't get their basic. Not saying my man Tim here, when they don't get basic economics. Legalizing it and making a tax is going to create a black market for it, which means it'll go right back to the way it was. You freaking idiots. Not you guys. Just people like legalizing and tax it to death. Well, no one's going to buy it like that. So anyway, what happens here is we're going to have the demand dropping as the prices go down, but the producer, because they have this fake price point that's set by Sniffy Joe and his band of rebels and the tyrants in DC and the globalist crowd by basically saying fossil fuels are evil. It's all based on fossil fuels and no nuclear, by the way. Oh, no hydro, by the way, because hydro is bad. Oh yeah, by the way, no biomass. It's all wind and solar because that's where their supporters lie, and they're scratching each other's back. We get it. The only thing we're gonna have left in this country is gonna be wind, solar, and big pharma. That's it. Wind, solar, big pharma. Anyway, so what you have now is you say, okay, well, I can't compete here because this artificial price is too high. I can't make a turn a buck on that, so I will get out of the market. And then you create monopolies, and it's so freaking obvious how this works. And then monopolies get essentially, again, we're going to that fascist state again, where the government tells the monopolies what to produce, how much to charge, and all that. And then people say, I don't want to. That's not the product I want. I don't want your Yugo. I want a Toyota Camry. But you can't sell a Toyota Camry for a competitive price because there's artificially inflated the cost because of energy, because of $15 minimum wage, all this stuff, man. That's why rent control won't work, minimum wages don't work, the whole thing, man. None of this works. Always creates scarcity, which always creates inflation. It has nothing to do with the government spending money. I tell you, these people get it wrong. The government printing press opens up. It's been opened up since the Vietnam War. And there's been hardly any inflation other than the last time we had an energy issue. Oh, what happened in 1990 during the beginning of the first Gulf War? There was an energy spike concern that when inflation went up in 30 years ago. Why? Because people thought the price of oil was going to go through the roof. Happened to be that Saddam lived to fight another day, but still we mopped it up pretty quickly and then right back down and went. High energy always leads to high cost. Government spending doesn't lead to high cost. It's high energy prices and then government socialism, essentially. All right, I get out of here, my friends. Appreciate y'all being here. Yeah, I tell you, Austria. Oh, that's where Hitler's from, right? So Austria's just doing their Hitler stuff. Yeah, it could be a deep cover. I could be a deep cover agent. Me and Peter Strzok from the FBI and Lisa Page. All right, I'll get out of here, my friends. Appreciate y'all being here. Have a good evening. God bless. Say your prayers, and we'll see you next time. Thanks now.